They were just kids, star athletes, promising students, faces beaming with teenage dreams, until it all came crashing down in a blood-soaked nightmare no one saw coming. A rising softball star found, dying by a dumpster. A teenage boy shot execution style on a dirt road. Another girl, silenced forever in the trunk of a blood-stained car. And the killers? Not monsters from the shadows, but teenagers. One just 12 years old. What happened in Ocklawaha, Florida wasn't just a crime. It was a betrayal of innocence itself. Welcome to Mystery Unveiled, True Crime. Thank you, my viewers. A special thank you to our loyal subscribers for joining us as we uncover the darkest, most gripping true crime stories every single day. Your support fuels our mission to bring you both infamous cases and chilling untold mysteries. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Before the gunshots, before the headlines, before Ocklawaha became a name carved into Florida's Hall of Infamy, there was just Layla. Layla Silvernail wasn't just another 16-year-old. She was fire on the softball field, a leader in the dugout, and a name whispered with pride in Marion County. Coaches called her unstoppable. Teammates trusted her instincts, and in her small town, she was seen as one of the rare ones, the kind that made it out, the kind that made you believe. She threw like lightning. She ran with purpose. Off the field, she was sunshine, goofy, fearless, quick with a comeback. People were drawn to her. But even stars cast shadows, and in hers, something dark was stirring. Layla had started running with a different crowd, the kind that made parents nervous but didn't set off alarms, not yet. She was curious, maybe too trusting, maybe too loyal. But no one expected the girl who just pitched a perfect inning to be caught in a deadly spiral that would end in a pool of blood beside a dumpster. Not even her family. Her coaches, her friends, all they saw was a dreamer. She was supposed to be filling college applications, not obituaries. But in the last few weeks of her life, something shifted. She started keeping secrets. She disappeared for hours. She posted cryptic messages. Some said she was in love. Others whispered about gangs. Everyone had a theory, but no one had the truth. Not yet. Christopher Atkins, Robert Robinson, Tahj Brewton. 3 names that now send chills through Central Florida. But rewind the tape, and you'll find kids who looked just like everyone else. Laughter in their voices, mischief in their eyes. But behind the grins, a brewing storm. Christopher, barely 12 when everything went down, was the quiet one. He didn't talk much, but when he did, you listened. He moved in shadows, watched everything, learned quickly. You'd never peg him for a killer. Robert, at 17, was the ringleader, charismatic, calculated, a magnetic pole that drew weaker kids into his orbit. But that charm hid something colder, meaner, something ready to snap. And Tahj? Just 16, but already on a first-name basis with law enforcement. Street smart, fast-talking, reckless, a walking fuse. The trio wasn't a gang, exactly, more like a loose alliance of broken boys trying to fill the cracks with cash, status, and power. They called their crimes licks. Break-ins, thefts, robberies, just quick hits for quick thrills. But something changed in March of 2023. The stakes got higher. The risks got bloodier, and in the middle of it all was Layla. No one knows exactly how their paths crossed. School rumors, parties, Instagram DMs, but they did. And once they did, there was no turning back. Layla was drawn in. Maybe she thought she could help them. Maybe she was in over her head. But what started as a link turned into a trap, and soon that trap snapped shut. The night air in Ocklawaha was thick, quiet. One of those nights where everything feels calm right before it falls apart. Somewhere between 9 and 10 p.m., Layla was picked up. Not by strangers, by people she knew, people she trusted. She was in the car, her own car, with the boys. Christopher, Robert, Tahj. Maybe laughing, maybe nervous, but not afraid. Not yet. They drove for a while. No clear destination. Maybe they were scoping out a new lick. Maybe tensions were already rising. What we do know, phones stopped ringing. GPS data went silent. And not long after, Layla was shot in the head and dumped beside a dumpster. Cold, bleeding, dying. A nearby security camera caught nothing. No one heard screams, no tire screeches, just silence. As if the town itself turned its back for a moment, long enough to let a girl bleed out alone. Before anyone knew Layla was dead, another body turned up. March 31. A few hours past dawn. The road was dusty, deserted. That's where they found him, Michael Hodo Jr., 17 years old, shot in the back of the head. Execution style, left like garbage on the side of the road. His shoes were missing, so was his phone. No one could understand why. He wasn't a gang member, he wasn't violent, he was just in the wrong car. But it wasn't over. April 1, a third body. This time, hidden. Camille Quarles, just 16, was found in the trunk of Layla's car, parked in a rural area. The smell led someone to call it in. Officers opened the hatch, and there she was, 2 bullets, 1 teenager, no mercy. 3 days, 3 deaths, 1 town torn apart. The media exploded, parents panicked, kids whispered. Everyone wanted to know who would do this. And then, the answers started rolling in. When Layla's body was discovered near that dumpster, barely clinging to life, the town hoped, prayed, but the damage was irreversible. She was pronounced dead at the hospital, and just like that, a community lost its golden girl. Law enforcement launched into overdrive. Marion County detectives didn't sleep. They combed through surveillance, cell tower pings, social media messages. Every digital footprint became a breadcrumb in a deadly trail. The car she'd been driving her own was missing. 2 days later, it turned up parked miles away. Inside the trunk, Camille Quarles, already decomposing. It didn't take long for the house of cards to start wobbling. Layla's phone led them to a string of messages, cryptic chats, Snapchat streaks, and emojis that now read like codes. There were references to hits, plans to meet, vague warnings, and silence where there should have been goodnight texts. Detectives matched locations, plotted movements. By April 3rd, arrest warrants were in motion. The hunt was on. The community didn't just lose 3 teens, it lost its sense of safety. Parents triple-locked their doors, teachers broke down in classrooms, teens unfollowed each other overnight. Layla wasn't supposed to be in that kind of life. Michael wasn't a fighter. Camille was sweet, quiet, always reading. But now their names were plastered across national news, tied to gang rumors, robbery chatter, and senseless violence. And the boys? Their mugshots spread like wildfire. Christopher Atkins looked like a child, because he was. Just 12 years old when he pulled that trigger. Wearing glasses, barely a whisper of facial hair. But behind that stare, cold calculation, Robert Robinson and Tahj Brewton? They weren't much older, but their records ran deep. Prior arrests, burglary charges, suspicion of carrying weapons. But no one expected them to kill. Sheriff Billy Woods held a press conference and delivered the hammer. These weren't rivalries. This wasn't revenge. These kids were doing what they called a lick. Stealing, robbing, and when it got messy, they turned on their own. There's no honor among thieves. The words hit like gunfire. How does a 12-year-old pull the trigger on a 16-year-old girl and walk away? This is the question that haunts everyone. Was Christopher Atkins manipulated? Brainwashed? Just evil? Some say he was a pawn used by older boys, made to feel powerful in a world where power is survival. Others say no, that he knew exactly what he was doing, and that there's no excuse for execution-style murder. Robert Robinson, allegedly the architect, carried himself like a general, not panicked, but composed, calm. Interviews with peers painted a picture of a teen who liked being feared, a leader who didn't flinch. Tahj Brewton, the wild card. He ran first, disappeared after the murders, and sparked a statewide manhunt. He knew what was coming and didn't plan to stick around for it. But one thing became clear. There wasn't one trigger, there were 3. 3 shooters, 3 motives, and 3 shattered families. Christopher was caught quickly. Not running, not hiding, just existing. Almost as if he didn't understand the gravity of what he'd done. At 14, standing in cuffs, he looked more like someone who got caught skipping class than someone facing decades in prison. He didn't lawyer up, he didn't deny it. And when pressed about Layla, he broke. Not with tears, with confession. He told detectives everything. The plan, the guns, the moment he pulled the trigger. As part of his plea deal, he agreed to testify against Robert and Tahj, the very boys who once had his back. Robert Robinson was next. Caught in town. No struggle, no resistance. Just a dead stare as officers loaded him into the squad car. Tahj Brewton? He ran the longest. Stayed off grid for weeks. But his face was everywhere. Tip lines lit up. Socials went dark. Eventually, they got him. Hiding in a borrowed house. Surrounded. He didn't go out in a blaze. He surrendered quietly, with eyes that didn't flinch. 3 teens, 3 mugshots. One of them barely old enough for high school. On June 11, 2024, Christopher Atkins stood before a judge. No shackles, no orange jumpsuit, just a teenager in 2 big dress clothes, looking down at the floor. He pled guilty to first-degree murder, armed robbery, and tampering with evidence in the death of Layla Silvernail. His sentence? Somewhere between 40 years and life. But with parole, he could be free by 39. 39. By then, Layla would have been in her prime. Graduated, married, maybe. Teaching little girls how to throw sliders on a dusty diamond field. Instead, she's in the ground. Her killer might walk free before he turns 55. But here's the kicker. Part of his plea means he has to testify against Robert and Tahj, the very boys who once had his back. That's right, he's flipping. The youngest in the crew, now becoming the key witness. And that trial? It's set for July, with the spotlight of the nation burning down on a Florida courtroom where childhood and murder are about to collide. Robert Robinson faces 3 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of robbery with a firearm, and tampering with evidence. Tahj Brewton? His rap sheet is even longer. Murder, carjacking, grand theft auto, aggravated assault, and tampering with his ankle monitor. They're both being tried as adults. The courtroom will be filled with weeping mothers, angry fathers, and a town that still doesn't know how it let this happen. Prosecutors are seeking life. No parole, no second chances. But their attorneys are playing a different game, painting their clients as products of broken homes, violence, and a system that gave up on them long ago. Still, there's no excuse for what they did. 3 teens executed, 3 families shattered, and a town left asking, how do we stop kids from turning into killers? There are no easy answers, no clean endings, just silence. And in that silence, a name echoes. Layla. 3 lives stolen, 3 more locked behind bars, and a town left gasping for answers. This wasn't just a crime, it was a tragedy written in bullet holes and broken trust. The question isn't just how this happened, it's why no one saw it coming. If this story shook you, don't just scroll away, share it. Talk about it. Let Layla, Camille, and Michael be remembered as more than headlines. And if you want more true crime stories that dig deep and hit hard, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Because some stories demand to be told.